Jayne Mansfield was Hollywood's famous, smartest dumb blonde. She never needed a scandal to go viral because she was the scandal. Her curves drew attention like a magnet, and she had a hunger for fame that burned brighter than a camera flash. Jayne seduced the public with her body, her charm, and her bold sensuality. She wasn't just Hollywood's bad girl. She was its ultimate sex symbol. This is the story of how outrageous Jayne Mansfield's love life was. In 1950, Vera Jane Palmer was just 17, still technically a girl, but already 3 months pregnant when she walked down the aisle with Paul Mansfield, a 20-year-old church boy she snagged at a Christmas Eve party. Everyone smiled for the pictures, but behind the scenes, biographers say Paul wasn't the father, and maybe he knew it too. Still, no one asked questions. The wedding was rushed, the truth was buried, and the show went on. But the real scandal wasn't the pregnancy. It was Jayne herself. Paul wanted a quiet life, Sunday mornings and backyard barbecues, but Jayne was pure wildfire. She craved the bright lights, the red carpets, and the cameras, and she wasn't going to let motherhood or marriage clip her wings. In 1950s Hollywood, raw talent wasn't enough. Actresses had to drip sex and bend when the right producer snapped his fingers. Jayne knew it, and she served up her sultry side in reckless, radioactive doses to anyone who looked like they could sign a contract. At one Hollywood party, Jayne showed up in a skin-tight pink gown that looked more like a scandal stitched together than a dress. She leaned over a dinner table with her cleavage spilling, and seated right next to her was none other than Sophia Loren, whose wide-eyed glare said everything the tabloids would later scream in bold print. Jayne knew exactly what she was doing. That was her way of working her way through the industry's puppet masters. Just as she had planned, she finally got the attention that she wanted, and in 1955, while Paul clung to his dreams of a modest life, Jayne filed for separate maintenance and took off to LA with lipstick, lingerie, and a bulletproof ambition. The young actress starred in the play Will Success Spoil Rock Hunter on Broadway, and it became a national sensation. However, she did not hit Hollywood as hard as she thought she would. In fact, casting directors dismissed her as a cheap Monroe substitution. It was finally in her first audition for casting director Milton Lewin that he told her that she was wasting her obvious talents, then instructed her to tighten her dress and lighten her hair. And that was how she embraced the bombshell blonde image that will define her for a long time. Not long after, she struck a deal with Hugh Hefner, the publisher of the notorious Playboy magazine. For 3 years, Jayne featured in the February editions as Playboy Playmate, and she was not subtle with her appearances. Jayne wore sheer dresses with plunging necklines and accidentally lost her top in front of photographers. In a particular edition, she was seen posing with only her hands covering her bare breasts. While she bounced from one studio lot to the next, she seemed to forget she was even married. Paul watched his wife morph into a walking scandal. From magazine covers to gossip columns, Jayne was everywhere and rarely with her clothes on. Humiliated and fed up, Paul finally snapped. He filed for divorce and fought for full custody of their daughter, arguing, with every tabloid cover as Exhibit A, that Jayne was no kind of mother. And honestly, who could argue? She was busy keeping the minds of young men busy. To everyone's surprise, when the divorce got finalized in 1958, she retained custody of her daughter and even told the court that Paul was jealous of her pet chihuahua. In an even more surprising twist, Jayne got married to her Hungarian bodybuilder Mickey Harherdi right after the divorce. They met 2 years earlier at the Latin Quarter nightclub in New York City. He was an actor and a bodybuilder with a hot body. He had just won the Mr. Universe title in 1955, and Jayne fell for him instantly. He fell for her too, and proposed with a 10-carat diamond ring worth $5,000. Their wedding was a media circus, covered by every magazine and TV outlet. Their relationship was wild and fiery. They showed off their love at red carpet events and even made movies together, like The Loves of Hercules, which looked more like soft porn than mythology. They also became a stage duo, touring with live shows. Jayne's leopard bikini caused a stir, and newspapers couldn't stop talking about it. Mickey played the male lead in her nightclub acts, including the Tropicana holiday. But behind the scenes, it wasn't so perfect. Mickey got jealous of how much attention Jayne wanted. She flirted in public and crossed the line. Her charm worked on both men and women. There were also rumors she had flings with some of her female co-stars. Jayne never confirmed or denied it. Then, in 1962, Jayne had a well-publicized affair with Enrico Bamba, an Italian producer. He was also the production manager of her film Panic Button. When Mickey heard, he publicly accused Enrico of destroying their marriage. That was the first time Jayne filed for divorce from Mickey, but she went ahead and told reporters, "I'm sure we will make it up." And true to her word, the divorce didn't go through. The year following, she had another fling with the Brazilian-born comedian and singer Nelson Sardelli. Jayne's excuse was that she was planning to marry him when her divorce from Hargatti was finalized. Eventually, Jayne and Mickey divorced on the 4th of May, 1962. But after the divorce, she realized that she was pregnant. So as not to endanger her career with another scandal, Mickey and Jayne announced that they were still married. She gave birth to a daughter, Mariska Hargitay, in January 1964. It was just before the state of California ruled their divorce as valid. Later, Mariska would reveal her biological father was Nelson Sardelli, not Mickey. Jayne moved on very quickly. She married Matt Cimber, an Italian director she hoped would revive her fading career. During their marriage, Matt managed and helped her with her acting projects, but their marriage became Jayne's most chaotic chapter yet. Matt was controlling, and Jayne was rebellious. He allegedly abused her physically when she blatantly told him that she was only ever happy with Nelson Sardelli. Though Jayne and Matt had a child, Antonio Cimber, it was not enough to keep them together. They divorced, and Matt took his son with him. He remarried shortly after, to Christy Hilliard. By this time, Jayne's life and career were already going downhill. She became an alcoholic and was often found in the center of drunken brawls, but her scandalous relationships soared. She had a one-night stand with John F. Kennedy. While his affair with Marilyn Monroe was popular news, Jayne's alleged hookup with the president was more secretive. Jayne had first met JFK through his brother-in-law, Peter Lawford, in 1960. Jayne had an affair to steal the spotlight from Marilyn, whom she considered her rival. But after they spent the night together, Jayne went back to Lawford complaining about his bedroom skills, saying, "Okay, but couldn't he at least be a little tender?" When he told her to keep their little romance a secret, she said, "Everyone in Hollywood and Washington knows about it anyway, and I like it that way, and I'll bet Marilyn's pissed as all get out."
Jayne's appetite did not stop at celebrity lovers. Around 1964, she got involved with Anton LaVey, the founder of the Church of Satan. The press exploded with the shocking news. It was not every day a Hollywood actress dabbled in the occult. Headlines read, "Was sex goddess a Satan slave?" The actress fueled the news even more with her actions. In a picture that went viral, she was seen posing with Anton LaVey, draped in black, holding a human skull in her hands. Some claim she attended satanic rituals. Others whispered that Anton cast spells for her and that they were lovers. It was also rumored that Anton gave her the title of High Priestess of San Francisco's Church of Satan. Both Anton and Jayne refused to make public comments on the accusation. That silence made the story last forever, linking her eventual death to the occult. As the story goes, Anton LaVey placed a curse on Sam Brody, who was Jayne Mansfield's boyfriend at the time. Sam had started as her divorce lawyer, but the two fell in love. As their relationship went on, Sam became possessive and unstable. People said he followed Jayne everywhere and that she had grown tired of him. There were also claims he mistreated her daughter, which made Jayne want to cut him out of her life completely. One day, Jayne and Sam visited the Black House, Anton LaVey's home in San Francisco. While they were there, Sam carelessly lit a forbidden candle in LaVey's altar room. This angered Anton. He told Jayne that Sam's disrespect had invited a curse from Satan. He warned her that anyone who stayed close to Sam would die and urged her to leave him immediately. Not long after, tragedy struck. On June 29, 1967, Jayne, Sam, and 3 of her children were driving on a Louisiana highway after a nightclub show, heading to New Orleans. At exactly 2:25 a.m., the car crashed into the back of a tractor-trailer. The impact was deadly. Jayne, Sam, and the driver were all killed instantly. Whether it was truly the result of a curse or just a tragic accident, Jayne Mansfield's life came to a sudden and heartbreaking end. Jayne was often called Hollywood's smartest dumb blonde, a label that didn't fully reflect who she was. As her daughter Mariska Hargitay later said, "My mother was this amazing, beautiful, glamorous sex symbol, but people didn't know that she played the violin and had a 160 IQ and had 5 kids and loved dogs. She was just so ahead of her time." In another interview, Jayne herself also admitted, "It's hard to be an intellectual and a dumb blonde at the same time, so I kept my intellectual background somewhat hidden early in my career." If you enjoyed this video, there's a good chance you'll enjoy the one showing on your screen right now. Click, enjoy, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. See you at the next one.